It's absolutely clear if we want to decarbonise the economy, we've got to take on the built environment.
We have agreed on the Paris Agreement, and also we have now set a goal in Europe to agree to climate neutrality by 2050. That means that every sector has to do its fair share, and that includes also the built environment.
If we're going to achieve long-term climate neutrality in Europe, decarbonising the built environment is an essential pillar for achieving that ambition.
And we're not going to get to a climate neutral continent if we don't decarbonise the building sector.
I think we need really aggressive decarbonisation pathways towards net zero carbon emissions in the sector, both on operational emissions and embodied emissions by 2050. We need to really move the dial on these and move our whole value chain together towards net zero emissions targets.
There is no business case for actually making the changes, so we have to make that investment case. We have to bring up the technologies to scale that are still needed, and that means both on clean production methods, but that also means on circular economy business models, recycling, material substitution, etc.
The next step will be to have a coherent strategy across all governance levels in the European Union, so from the European level through the national level down to cities and local level, that allows all actors to come together around the table to understand how they can contribute collectively and individually to achieving a low carbon built environment.
We need to accept that there is an urgent need to move and accelerate all the actions already in place.
If we want to really tackle circularity and emissions, both operational and embodied, we need to build on the great work the Commission's done on levels, a common European approach to addressing life cycle impacts of buildings. We think that should be the building block behind a built environment strategy.
A very ambitious Green Deal, that is of course already in the making, but we need an industrial strategy that really creates a framework for these basic industries, and that means both the investment framework but also the infrastructure, the conditions like renewable energy, hydrogen and CCS infrastructure.
No surprise for me, the number one policy priority for low carbon built environment must be to treat the existing buildings, to do deep energy renovations and reduce the operational carbon emissions that are dogging our progress in the built environment.
Creating a common technical language that we can use across the sector to increase the communication between the actors from the beginning of the chain, manufacturing, to the builders and users, and then demolishing and reuse of resources at the end of the cycle.